When driving through the DFW Metroplex, you may feel a little overwhelmed because you may not know where one city starts, where it ends, unless you see the water towers as you're driving through the cities. So what is the difference between Dallas and Fort Worth? In this video, I'm gonna share. First up, median home price. Dallas is a little bit more expensive than the Fort Worth side. Dallas has a median home price of $466,000, and Fort Worth has a median home price of $350,000. And when you purchase a home on the Fort Worth side, you can get a little closer into the city than Dallas, because if you want to buy a home for $350,000 in Dallas, it may be you may have to go a little further out to get that suburb feel close to downtown. If you want a big yard, the suburbs of Fort Worth, say Keller, Southlake, and even Flower Mound, tend to have larger lot sizes than the suburbs of Dallas, like Frisco, Plano, those suburbs. So the North Dallas suburbs tend to have smaller lots, sometimes with the garage in the back, which makes a beautiful drive through the neighborhood, but it does take up half of your yard space. And so many families who want a large lot may kind of gravitate over to that Fort Worth side. Both Dallas and Fort Worth have a variety of neighborhoods, but the Dallas side does have more townhomes and condos than the Fort Worth side, with the exception of the downtown area. But there are very different types of neighborhoods. Also in Fort Worth, you're going to find more apartments for rent versus the condos. Interesting enough, Fort Worth has a higher homeowner rate, and it's probably because of the price point. Fort Worth also has a higher median household income and lower poverty rate, which I thought was interesting as well, considering you have more high-end neighborhoods and high-rises on the Dallas side. Now, this is specifically for the actual city limits of Dallas and Fort Worth. So let's talk about the suburban developments. And what I'm talking about are like the differences between Dallas and Fort Worth, like the cities and how they've developed them. So in my opinion, I feel like the North Dallas suburbs are just more well thought out, if that makes sense. The streets are planned better. The cities have a plan. It's beautiful, clean. Whereas the Fort Worth suburbs seem to kind of lag behind, if that makes sense. Southlake and Keller are developed very nicely, especially Southlake. But some of those other neighboring cities like Haslett or even North Fort Worth, they're just not developed. They tend to develop behind houses and families moving in. And so from a development standpoint, I just feel like the North Dallas cities are developed far better than the Fort Worth cities. Now, the actual city of Dallas and Fort Worth, they're both kind of like crazy when it comes to the development. Also, do keep in mind the communities, like you have different developers. The developers develop really well on both sides. So Fort Worth has like Hillwood Development, who planned Pecan Square and Harvest Ridge. So just those developments themselves are developed really well. It's just the city around them kind of lag behind. So in that regard, I prefer the North Dallas cities. If politics are of importance to you, Dallas and Fort Worth are very different. Dallas is definitely much more liberal, and Fort Worth is more conservative. Now, of course, in like any state, the more you go into the suburbs or into the country life, the more conservative it's going to get. Let's talk a little bit about the culture. So Dallas and Fort Worth definitely have a different vibe as far as culture. Dallas has like the sophisticated, think high-rise life. Dallas actually has more money when it's all said and done. And so you're gonna find areas that are very glamorous. There are some areas in Dallas that are not glamorous as well, but think that, and then think Fort Worth. While there's not as many high-end areas in Fort Worth, there are some luxury areas, but they're very limited on the Fort Worth side. So the culture, it feels a little more country in Fort Worth, even though it's not country at all. It's a city, but the people are more, well, just think conservative people. Country people, I don't know, that's probably a bad comparison, but all in all, the politics do filtrate into the culture, so Fort Worth is a little more conservative, Dallas is more liberal, and then you're gonna get the vibe that comes with it. Next on the list is cleanliness. This is kind of important to me. Now, the North Dallas suburb cities tend to be cleaner than I'd say the Fort Worth side. And when I say cleaner, like we're talking like trash on the streets, grubby areas is what I call it. However, the downtown Dallas compared to downtown Fort Worth is different. I would say that Fort Worth is much cleaner downtown in Sundance Square because it's privately owned and they take care of the property. Dallas does tend to get a little grubby, with the exception if you go further north into Uptown, a great area for young professionals where it's very clean, very nice, or say like Highland Park is not too far from Dallas as well, very clean obviously. Entertainment. Now, Dallas, I would say, definitely has more activities and entertainment than the Fort Worth side. However, Fort Worth has its fair share, like the rodeo, the Trinity River, parks, and movies and your traditional normal activities. But Dallas has the Dallas Mavericks basketball, the Stars. So when it comes to like sports entertainment, or even if you're gonna have a celebrity come in and put on a concert, that's going to be in Dallas most likely. So typically they have more activities, they have more museums, so many things in Dallas to do. Now, what's cool is in Arlington, which is right smack dab in the middle of Dallas and Fort Worth, you have more entertainment. So you have Six Flags Over Texas, the Dallas Cowboys, Texas Rangers, again, a lot of sports here. So Arlington is a really good area for entertainment as well. Let's talk a little bit about traffic. So the differences in traffic in Dallas and Fort Worth, I would say Dallas definitely has way more traffic than Fort Worth. However, there are some pockets in Fort Worth that are pretty bad. I-35 in particular. Now, I-35 is actually, there's a west side and the east side. One goes through Dallas, one goes through Fort Worth. So 35 really, it's straight from Minnesota to Texas, but then it splits in between Dallas and Fort Worth. But yeah, you're gonna get more traffic on the Dallas side, with the exception of 35W. Let's talk about diversity. Dallas and Fort Worth both are pretty diverse, although I would say that Dallas attracts more people from around the globe, probably because of the big name of Dallas as well as the job opportunities. So when searching on census.gov, both are similar on the diversity percentage, with Dallas having significantly a higher foreign-born persons. So which city is right for you? Well, it depends on your family, job, lifestyle preferences, and in fact, if you need help with that, narrowing down where to live, fill out the Dream Home questionnaire in the link below, because you can schedule a one-on-one Zoom consultation with one of my most amazing agents who are familiar with all of Dallas-Fort Worth and the suburbs. You're not gonna find that in other teams. We have educated and explored every nook and cranny. Also, if you already know that Dallas is the city for you, Dallas and its suburbs, click on this video, or Fort Worth and its suburbs, click on this video.